We will now begin tonight's session. The Honourable Member from Fundy Royal.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and it's an honour to be able to participate this evening in this important debate. I want to state at the outset I'll be splitting my time for the last 5 minutes with the member from Thornhill. I'm going to start off with an easy question for the Minister, just to get things started. In what year did your Liberal Party form its majority government?
The Liberal Party formed the majority government in 2015.
Thank you, Minister. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. That's important, 2015, because you're going to hear the number 2015 quite a bit. And I'll note, Minister, that when you were first appointed, you said one of the things that you said in your new role was that for Canadians, it was empirically unlikely that Canada is becoming less safe. And I would say that Canadians would say that is not true. I would say that Statistics Canada would say it's not true. So another question, Minister. There has been a shift in the crime rate since 2015 that we're going to talk about this evening. But on a serious criminal code offence of homicide, has that gone up or down since the Liberals formed government in 2015?
That's a question for the Chair, the Honourable, and to address the answers through the Chair, the Honourable Minister of Justice.
Mr. Chair, and with respect to the comments from the member from Fundy Royal, what I would say, and I've said previously in this chamber, is that upon initial appointment, I did not yet receive briefings with respect to crime statistics. Since that time, in late August and early September, I received statistical briefings on violent crime stats, and they've indeed gone up in Canada.
The Honourable Member from Fundy Royal.
Through you, Speaker. I mean, that's tremendously unfortunate that before even being briefed, he was telling Canadians that it was all in their head that we were experiencing a crisis in our justice system. But in fact, it's not all in Canadians' heads. And the facts, the stats tell us that violent crime has gone up tremendously. In fact, the rate of homicide has gone up 43% since 2015, the highest it's been in 30 years, Mr. Speaker. So through you, what about gang-related homicides, Minister? Have those gone up or down since 2015?
Once again, I appreciate the first question and the tone, but not the tone of the last two questions. I never used the term about things being fictitious, etc. I asked for empirical evidence. I've been given the empirical evidence, and that empirical evidence demonstrates that violent crime has gone up.
The Honourable Member from Fundy Royal.
Actually, what the Minister said, through you, Speaker, was that his role was to tell Canadians that it was empirically unlikely, I'm quoting the Minister, empirically unlikely that Canada is becoming less safe. In fact, violent crime is up 39%. So now that he has been briefed, could the Minister tell us, gang-related homicides, how much, according to Statistics Canada, have those gone up since 2015, only 9 years ago?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
What I can indicate to Canadians is that my job as Minister of Justice is to work to keep Canadians safe in their communities and in their homes. I understand that violent crime has gone up. That's why I'm taking measures to indeed do exactly that. Some of the measures that I've taken include changes to the bail system, including proposing different penalties and tougher penalties for things like automobile theft.
The Honourable Member from Fundy Royal.
Mr. Speaker, unfortunately, just the opposite is true. Every step this government has taken in the last 9 years has made the situation worse. When it comes to violent gun crimes, can the Minister tell Canadians tonight how much has violent gun crime, according to Statistics Canada, gone up since 2015?
The Honourable Minister.
I'm actually pleased that the member from Fundy Royal has decided to raise issues that relate to gun crimes, because what I can indicate to Canadians that are watching this evening is that we take gun violence very, very seriously. That's why we've taken steps with initiatives such as an assault rifle ban, things such as a national ban and freeze on the sale of handguns. That was done in legislation called Bill C-21, which that member voted against.
The Honourable Member from Fundy Royal.
Mr. Speaker, if it wasn't so serious, it would be laughable. The Minister's talking about steps his government has taken, but I'll answer the question. Violent gun crime is up, since 2015 alone, 101% since the Liberals took office. So, Mr. Speaker, we're hearing from the minister about what he's doing, but unfortunately, the statistics tell us everything they're doing, every step of the way, has been to make Canadians less safe. Speaking of which, the rate of police-reported sexual assault since 2015, does the minister have that number?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
What I can indicate to the member opposite is that when he and his party vote against initiatives that keep Canadians safe, I think they question the sincerity of questions like the one he just put to me. Bill C-21, which I mentioned, talks about a national freeze on the sale, purchase, and transfer of handguns. He voted against that. It also increased penalties for firearm trafficking. He voted against that. It also created new offences to help stop ghost guns. He voted against that. If there was sincerity on the part of the member opposite with respect to tackling the pressing issue of gun violence, I would have presumed that voting pattern would have been the opposite.
The Honourable Member from Fundy Royal.
Well, Mr. Speaker, I'll answer the question. Sexual assaults are up 71% since 2015 when the Liberals took government 9 years ago. And it's beyond ironic that the minister questions why we on this side as Conservatives wouldn't be supporting their agenda. Of course we don't support their agenda. We want to make Canada a place where it's safe, where kids can play in playgrounds, where parents can send their kids to school and not be worried about them. Canada is a less safe place under this government, and the minister in his answers tonight has shown no indication whatsoever that he's prepared to reverse course. Mr. Speaker, April 21st, an individual in Victoria stole a vehicle. He was arrested by the Victoria Police and taken before a court, and he was let out on bail. On April 22nd, the same individual stole another vehicle. The police did their job, so let's not blame the police. They arrested him, he was brought before a judge, he was let out on jail. April 23rd, 3 days in a row, this individual was arrested for a third time for breaking into a house to steal a motor vehicle. Mr. Speaker, through you, does the minister know where the Victoria Police laid the blame for this outrageous development that someone in Canada could be arrested 3 times in successive days and be let out on bail each time?
The Honourable Minister of Justice.
Thank the member for his questions, and there was a number of points in there, and I'll respond to all of them. The first point would be that in respect of Canadian safety, what I would put to him is that also in Bill C-21, which he voted against, dealt with intimate partner violence and things like red flag laws. Those have now become law, no thanks to him and his party in terms of their voting pattern. The red flag laws actually allow the police to intercept firearms from the home of someone who's deemed to be a threat to their partner or to other individuals. That's called keeping Canadians safe. So I reject outright the premise of his earlier question. With respect to bail, he will be aware that bail is a determination that is made by actors in our justice system, including justices of the peace. We've taken steps to strengthen the bail system to keep Canadians safe. On that piece, I will credit the member. He did vote in favour of Bill C-48, which deals with serious, violent, repeat offenders for whom there is now a reverse onus in terms of procuring bail. That's a step in the right direction in terms of keeping Canadians safe.
The Honourable Member from Fundy Royal.
Mr. Speaker, I'll notice once again, I've given the minister a lot of opportunities. He hasn't answered directly any of my questions. So he knows the answer to this one, and he's not going to give it, so I'll have to give it on his behalf. The Victoria Police statement says, Bill C-75, which was introduced by this government, came into effect nationally in 2019, legislated a principle of restraint that requires police to release an accused person at the earliest possibility. The police laid the blame for this individual being released 3 times in a row to re-victimize Canadians. A woman was injured in the process of one of the thefts, laid it squarely at the feet of this minister. So to the minister, on the issue of their draconian Bill C-63, which Margaret Atwood has described as Orwellian, has he completed a charter statement for this bill that clearly threatens the rights of Canadians?
The Honourable Minister.
So I find this line of questioning quite fascinating, given that the charter issue that is at issue in Bill C-63 deals with the very sensitive issues about protections of freedom of speech. That's protected under Section 2B. What I will do is always maintain my oath under the Constitution to uphold the Constitution and people's charter rights. This individual works under a leader who has brandished the idea of using the notwithstanding clause to deprive people of their charter rights. Section 2B is subject to the notwithstanding clause. So if we're talking about who's actually committed to protecting people's freedoms, including freedom of speech, I think people should be looking at themselves in the mirror on that side of the House.